Come with me to Kigali, Rwanda. First, I had to get the yellow card from Port Health Services near Lagos Airport. It was my first time traveling to another African country. I never needed one for Europe. I got the oral polio vaccine, then the meningitis vaccine and the yellow fever vaccine. The oral polio lasts for 1 year, the meningitis for 3 years, and the yellow fever is for life. The card was not ready that day, it was ready the next day, but I sent someone to pick it up. Few days to my travel date, I visited the salon to get my hair braided. Before you say anything about having long hair and not needing to do anything to my hair, take your time to read what is written on this wall. First comes the wash, the conditioning, and then the shrinkage. The shrinkage that comes with natural hair. Just look at this. Just look at. Anyways, it was time to dry, and I always use a heat protectant before drying my hair. My hair is dry now with less shrinkage. It's time for my braids. I always count down because I hate sitting for long to braid my hair. But because they were two, the hair was a bit faster. Hair done, and it was already late, so it was time for me to go home. But let's appreciate how neat and nice this braid looks. I made a quick stop to collect roasted corn from my husband. I can't say no to corn, ever. I eat corn everywhere I go. Next day, I went to get my lashes done. 2 hours later, and I was done. What a transformation, right? Next stop was the salon to get my nails done. For all my gel manicures, I always wear my UV protection gloves. Well, just in the last 6 years. Frequent unprotected exposure to UV rays can cause premature aging of the hands, where you have visible wrinkling and lines on the skin. Your skin can also be dry and rough, and then you can have worsening of hyperpigmentation, darker knuckles, and overall darker hands. UV protection gloves also decreases the risk of skin cancer on your hands. So if you're a lady and you always get your nails done, especially gel polish, ensure that you wear your UV protection gloves before you put your hand inside the UV lamp. I'm sure you must have seen a Proco Doctor's video on this. It is real, guys. Just check your hands after you do your gel polish and you put your hands inside the lamp. You can see some changes. Your skin could be dry or darker. That's the reason it's happening. 24 hours to my flight, I checked in online. Although I booked Qatar Airways, the flight to Kigali was operated by their partner Rwandair. So I had to check in on their own platform. I always check in online so I can select my preferred window seat, close to the wings of course. With the seat map, you can always see and select the parts of the plane you want, and you can get your preferred seats. Next day, I headed to the airport. My flight was an afternoon flight, and guys, it was the smoothest international flight check-in and customs process I have had through this Lagos airport since 2009. I couldn't even believe it myself. I assumed it was because it was afternoon. That was why everywhere was so calm. Perhaps a lot of people were not traveling. But by the time I saw some tweets and some threads online, I realized it was a thing. I said my goodbyes, then I waited for a while because everything went smoothly. So I had to spend some time before we could board. I used the time to go through some go through some social media, watch some Netflix until it was time to board. Now they've called for boarding and I had to head to the aircraft. Kigali, here we come. Let's see what East Africa has for me. It was a narrow-body aircraft with 3 seats on each side of the aisle. I looked through the in-flight magazines while waiting to take off. A good way to while away time. Then it was time to take off. The takeoff was smooth. The reason I always stay by the window so I can be seen in case they say run, but where will I run to? I'm just kidding. The Pilot showed us how long it was going to take us to get to Kigali from Lagos. Next, the cabin crew shared earphones. For such aircraft, you can find the earphone ports and control buttons on the armrest. There, that's where you put it in. The buttons enable you to browse through a selection of music, listen to the audio from the screen and the cabin announcements, and you can always adjust the volume as you wish. And you're good to go. It was time for lunch. They served us lunch, as usual, with a drink. I chose red wine with mine. The tray had a red velvet cake. Then there was beetroot, bread, and non-salted butter for the bread. There was also the rice with chicken curry sauce. Well, more like a sprinkle of rice, but we'll take it. I'm not a big fan of cake and I rarely eat cakes, but this cake was really nice. As for the beetroots, I have nothing to say. I prefer my beetroots in smoothies and drinks. I'm not sure what's going on in this one that is served. I enjoyed the rice, although it was tiny, but I enjoyed it. The red wine was also great. Sorry, I forgot to share with you. Cheers! When you go to use the toilet, don't get carried away and forget to lock the door with the lock, or else the light won't reflect that you're in there and someone can barge in. That is the lock, where you should lock, not the handle. That's just for opening the door. And don't forget to wash your hands before you leave. After 5 hours, we finally got to Kigali. I mean, when you see lights, you already know you've reached the city you're heading to. As I stepped out, I was hit with the chilly air, but thank God I had my jacket because I already heard that Kigali could be chilly. Immigration process was a breeze as I had my passport, my return ticket, and details of my accommodation in Kigali handy. I wasn't asked of my yellow card anywhere. The airport is not a big one, so in no time I was out to meet with Patrick, the taxi driver who drove me to my accommodation. I had arranged my pickup before landing through the host of my accommodation. But you will see taxis once you step out, you just have to negotiate prices. There is a sitting area with the drivers just outside the entrance of the airport and everything is well organized, so nobody is rushing you per se. My accommodation was in 𝐬𝐨𝐜𝐿𝐷, a residential area about 15 to 20 minutes drive from the airport. I forgot it was an apartment, not a hotel, and I needed something to eat. I walked down to a nearby supermarket with my host who gave me some cash and I bought chapati, a flatbread, which was okay but not for me. The next day, it was time to start exploring Kigali. I arrived at night, so by the time I was all settled in, it was already midnight. So, of course, you can't do anything at midnight but to sleep. Always carry a travel iron in case you stay in a place that doesn't provide or have irons. They are very lightweight and small, so you're not going to be wearing rumpled clothes around the city. In the accommodation, there was also a Rwandan visiting from France. He decided to show me some areas in Kigali, and that was how my first day went. But first, I had to take a picture. I had my first taxi motor ride. Motorcycles are the easiest and cheapest means of transportation in Rwanda. In my next video, you will see what we got up to. Bye!